Hey everyone, welcome back to another quick overview of upcoming Limbus Company as IDs. This week we have Hunt Heathcliff, long awaited. Sadly it's only him, no Butler Sinclair, but while it's only one ID, they were cooking, and this is the first ID that needs 2 pages of explanation, so we're gonna be here for a bit. He is a sinking ID, and at least his skill 1 is very straightforward. Beheading, a 2-coin skill. If the target has X plus sinking, gain clash power, and it also gains coin power for every X sinking count on the target. And on second coin hit, inflict some sinking. Very straightforward. Then we come to skill 2, where we should start talking about all the unique buffs our Heathcliff actually has. And we should start looking at Coffin, max value of 10. A turn and gain damage up for every X value next turn, with minimum speed for every X value next turn, and gain clash power up for every X value next turn. So yeah, just damage, speed and clash power up. And also what's very interesting is this doesn't get reduced at turn end, so if you are at a high value, you will stay at a high value. There's only one thing that's gonna use it up that we will see later. Then we also should already look at Dullahan. This has only a max value of 3. You lose defense level and gain offense level instead. Also raises min and max speed values. So just basically in an attack stance, you deal more damage, but you will also take more damage and you're speedier. At turn end, if you had a specific SP value, you lose Dullahan, or you gain 1 Dullahan next turn. Also at turn end, you lose X minus Coffin divided by YSP, so yeah, it's I guess similar to Dawn Claire's Ego, where every turn you are in the attack stance you will bleed SP, and you will bleed less SP if you have more Coffin on you. But yeah, back to the skills. Skill 2, Memorial Possession, 3-coin skill. On use, you gain coin power for every X sinking on the target. Then we gain attack rate for every X coffin on self. So big AoE possible if you can build up a lot of coffins. Then if this unit has Dullahan, you gain attack rate 2. And after attack, if this unit has Dullahan, lose SP. So even more SP loss while you have Dullahan, but I also think it makes sense why you would wanna lose a lot of SP while you have Dullahan up, and we come to that later when we go to the skill 3.1. And yeah, on hits, second coin inflict sinking, third coin we inflict sinking, and we inflict impending wound next turn. What is impending wound? It's basically similar to Echoes of the Manor, that it's also changes the panic type. For targets with SP, change the panic type to wound. Wound. When this unit enters low morale state, gains sinking at every turn end and lose clash power. When this unit panics, gains sinking and sinking count at every turn end and lose clash power. So somewhat similar, but instead of having to hit the target, people at low morale or at panic just gain sinking by their own. And then same as Echoes of the Manor, units without SP less chance to flip heads. I guess we'll see if it's exactly the same, like 10%, or if it's something else. This one gets reduced at turn end. And this effect is not cumulative. Inflicting it will replace the current value with the inflicted value, so you cannot basically keep spending skill 2 to get the impending wound value up. It will always be at something like 3 or something like that, I assume. Apply this units without a speed, conditional to certain enemies that have a speed but can change their panic types. So for some bosses that use SP but have hard-coded SP types more or less. I think the later cantos also have some enemies with specific panic types. I guess a big question about impending wound is how does it interact with Echoes of Manor? Are we allowed to stack it? Will they override each other? Since if they override each other, it's some slight anti-synergy with the butlers, but still pretty good. And then we come to skill 3. Vacuum, 2 coins skill. On Clash when heal SP. If this unit has Dullahan, we activate Lament, Mourn, and Despair instead. So if we are in our attack stance, we use skill 4 instead, basically. Then on use, gain coin power for every X sinking on the target, deal more damage for every X coffin on self, and this is one way to gain coffin, and if the attack killed the target, we also gain 1 more coffin, so 2 coffin counts from skill 3 if we kill the target. First coin hit, we inflict sinking count, and even more sinking count if there's impending wound on the enemy we are striking. Second coin hit, more sinking, and we inflict sinking on killed target times X sinking on 2 random enemies if we kill the enemy. So basically an easy way to spread sinking from enemies to enemies if we actually kill it. So yeah, you really want to use Vacuum or skill 4 to finish off enemies and then spread the sinking to the other enemies left in the fight. Then Lament, Mourn, and Despair, skill 3.1 or skill 4, however you want to count, which replaces Vacuum if you have Dullahan. So we immediately say on use lose SP. We gain base power for every X sinking on the target, deal more damage the lower this unit's SP is, deal more damage for every X coffin on self, deal more damage for every X Dullahan on self, and gain coffin. So the biggest difference here is we lose SP and we will deal more damage the less SP we have, which makes me kind of assume that this skill 4 or skill 3.1 might be a negative coin skill while the rest will be positive coin skills. It is an educated guess at best that we will see on Thursday, but I assume that's the way, and I will later talk about what I assume is the flow and the strategy you would want with this ID. But yeah, same if the skill kills a target, we gain coffin, and then after attack, if we had less than 0 SP, we heal the amount of SP, and if we had less than 0 SP, we even heal more SP from this. So yeah, I really feel like you want to be at low SP when you use this, and then you just get fully SP'd up again. Also on turn end we will lose Dullahan. We don't know how much. Maybe it's just 1 stack, so if you stacked up Dullahan before, you don't leave the attack stance, which would make sense. And here also inflict sinking and sinking count on the first coin. Then differently, we raise the target's second threshold by X% of the damage dealt. And then on second coin, on hit, we deal gloom damage equal to sinking potency on the target. It's not quite sinking deluge, but this is still pretty big for bosses with SP on them, which sinking kind of struggles to deal damage on, since, yeah, for big bosses, if you don't have SP, your sinking gets converted to gloom damage, and we don't have that on SP bosses, so you deal a lot less damage while at least the boss is at minus 45 SP, but that should speed it up and deal a lot more damage. And on a kill, we still spread sinking, and we also gain more SP back. So just like skill 3.1 or whatever you want to call it, BD is there as a finisher at the best case and kill off the enemy. Then we coming to the counter. It is a unique counter. We don't really get explained how it really works. Kim Ji-hoon said in the live stream that it works similar to Runa counters. So I assume that instead of you getting hit and then you do the attack afterwards, if something is clashing with you, Heathcliff will just clash back with this counter if you put up the counter beforehand. And this can also happen multiple times, I assume. But yeah, before use, if this unit has Dullahan and has X plus SP, use Lament, Mourn, and Despair as a counter. So if we are already Dullahan up and at enough SP, we instead of using the normal counter, use the skill 3.1 as the counter instead for big damage and quick coffin games, I guess. Otherwise, at combat start, if this unit does not have Dullahan, gain Dullahan next turn. So this counter is the easiest way to gain Dullahan and go into the attack stance. On use, gain coin power for every X sinking on the target. On clash win, gain offensive level up next turn equal to number of clashes divided by X. So yeah, that really makes me think he will be able to keep clashing as long as he keeps winning or something like that. Turn end, if this unit has Dullahan, lose Dullahan. I guess you should not be... Maybe this is... I'm not quite sure about that line, to be honest. But yeah, on the second coin hit, inflict sinking and sinking count. Now, we went through the skills. Now there's only like 3 passives left. Easy. Okay, let's look at a Dullahan passive. Turn start, if this unit has Dullahan, we mount Dullahan. So yeah, he goes on his big wolf and is in attack stance. Lose SP every time this unit mounts Dullahan. So yeah, the turn start where you have Dullahan for the first time, you will just lose SP. If X plus allies have been defeated in this encounter, gain Dullahan next turn. So this is the second condition we can meet to gain Dullahan for Heathcliff, which is just enough allies have to perish. I guess it's not really that reliable right now, depending how chain battles gonna be developed in the future. Might be a quick way to gain Dullahan if you can just sacrifice a lot of units. Also, if this unit gets staggered due to damage or waste stagger threshold when mounting Dullahan, recover from stagger. The stagger is something that cannot be naturally recovered from this unit does not mount Dullahan. What that basically means is the first turn you have Dullahan on yourself. You are stagger immune more or less most of the time. Pretty neat. You probably can use this around some enemy abilities. And we gain coffin when killing the target, so yeah, you want to really use Heathcliff to finish off enemies. Quickly build up coffin so you deal more damage. Then we have Call of the Urking. Deal more damage for every X sinking on the target, because he probably would not deal enough damage already. Yeah. Then when ally takes a hit that would kill them, consume Y coffin to apply Wild Hunt to them. So yeah, this is the only thing that consumes coffin ourselves, so Heathcliff will sacrifice some coffin on himself and apply Wild Hunt to the ID in your team that would perish. So let's look at Wild Hunt. Max value of 1. In the same turn, this unit gained Wild Hunt for the first time, always have 1 remaining HP. At turn end, heal X% HP and change SP value to Y. I guess that if you played Runa, it's somewhat similar for the turn where this triggers that the ID has just basically unrelenting, cannot perish, and then they heal amount of HP and SP. Then if the unit with Wild Hunt gets killed by an attack, we gain ego resources for the least owned ego resource. Pretty neat if you just run a sinking team and you really miss an ego resource. And if this unit is killed by an attack, inflict sinking against the last attacker. So person with Wild Hunt on themselves perishes to the attack of the boss. Boss gains more sinking songs. The thing to look out for is, yeah, dies at the end of the same turn this unit is revived, so more or less with Wild Hunt, you gain 1 extra turn with the idea that perished, and then they're gone for good. But hey, sometimes all you really need is 1 more turn, and it's not where it ends, because we apply damage up to the ally with Wild Hunt, so they will deal more damage with the 1 more turn, and if they're from the Wuthering Heights or Edgar family, so basically all IDs of the season, we apply attack power up next turn as well to them for even more damage. Let's go. Then, last but not least, we have the support passive, Endless Lamentation. One ally with the highest SP deals more damage to targets with less than 0 SP. If the target has less than 0 SP, deal even more damage the further the target's SP is from 0. If the target does not have SP, the said ally inflicts more singing potency and count with their skill and coin effects of their attack skills. So basically we deal more damage if it's the enemy with SP, otherwise we apply more sinking easily on the enemy. And while I assume you really would want to run this Heathcliff in a sinking team and don't bench him, keep in mind with all the chain battle changes that his support passive will trigger once he perishes and is off the field, so even then he will still be a strong support. So yeah, I would really say that Wild Hunt Heathcliff might be a must-have and you really want him. So like I said earlier, what I would assume would be the general flow of combat with him and how you would use him is you would mostly probably ignore his skill 1, since this is the boring one, just some sinking. What instead you do is most of the time counter with Dullahan to gain Dullahan. Then the turn afterwards, use your skill 2 if possible for Mammal Possession, big AoE. We're also losing more SP. And then I really assume that this skill will be a minus coin power skill. So if we are the negatives, we then use the skill 3-1. Big damage, big single target damage. We go back to positive SP, we lose Dullahan, and we go back to the loop of counter, skill 2, skill 3-1. But yeah, thanks for watching everyone. I hope you now have at least a small idea how this gonna work. This is a lot of text and a lot to comprehend. But yeah, bye bye.